Hello, welcome on Croeso to Sirhowy Sessions. Stories, voices and well-being from the heart of the valleys. Unfiltered. How is everybody on this bank holiday Monday? How are you doing? What have your plans been? Has the weather been what you've expected? Usual bank holiday stuff, but we've had some nice weather. Want to talk to you today about a number of things. We've got people coming up. We have got recommendations, tips. Stay tuned for all of that. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, please, as well. So I can't really let this week go by without talking about voting. This is not a political podcast at all. And I am not going to be interviewing candidates, and I haven't been, because I don't want to talk to anybody about political persuasions. What I do want to mention is that the Sirhowy Valley is really, really important when it comes to voting, as I'm sure you know. Now, I don't know how much you know about the Chartist movement, but it was a very important thing that happened with the Newport Rising, whereby a lot of working class men walked from Blackwood and Pontypool up to Newport to protest, and a number of them were killed. And some of them got arrested. Over 200 people got arrested. It was a huge, big deal. Now, why did they want to march and protest? Well, they wanted all men to have the vote, not women at this point. Women didn't get the vote for some time yet, even though it just sounds ridiculous these days, doesn't it, that women didn't even come into it. However, it was a move forward because at the time, working class men weren't allowed to vote, and the Valleys is full of working class men, and certainly was at that time. So they wanted all men to have the vote, and also to be able to vote in a secret ballot. So it just goes to show there must have been quite a lot of bullying around for people to want to have secret ballots, and for them to want the members of Parliament to be paid. So blackmail and extortion and bribery was quite a big thing in those days. Now, the reason I mention that is because by Blackwood Bridge, you've got that huge statue of a Chartist. I particularly like it. I think it's quite imposing. 26 feet tall, so it's quite a big deal. And it just reminds us of the sacrifices that people made to be able to vote. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that voting is really important. If you can't make up your mind, I've seen lots of posts about people saying, well, I'm just not going to vote. I don't know who to vote for. If you don't like anybody, but you feel quite passionate about it, do you know that you can spoil your paper? So you can turn up to vote, you can go into the booth, and you can maybe draw on it, tick all the boxes, that kind of thing. And there is a point to that, because it will get counted as a spoiled vote, which means it shows that you turned up, you wanted to vote, but you didn't like any of the options. Whereas if you just stay at home, it just doesn't say anything at all, does it? Now, I want to hear from you if you've got some really interesting stories about voting. Try and keep it clean. It's such an emotive subject, isn't it? Have you lost touch with friends or family because of their political persuasion? I think at the moment, with everything going on in America and so on, and in the UK, there's a lot of division and a lot of hatred. I don't know if you think about this as well, but I find that social media is a lot to blame for this, because people are not able to debate very often these days. So I ran a project recently, a couple of years ago, with Romania, Turkey, Spain and England, possibly somebody else, but I can't remember, where we looked at the art of debate. Oh, Sweden was one of them, where students were taught how to debate, and they put the adults to shame, to be honest. I don't know if you find it that on social media, people are very quick that if you don't like what they say or you don't agree with them, they pick holes in you personally. So if you don't like someone's political opinion, they'll just say, oh, you're old, you're fat, you're ugly, or whatever it is. Really horrible words they'll say. And you think, what's that got to do with anything? Do you find that? So I don't like that. I like the fact that you can have a debate with somebody and disagree, but then still carry on being their friend. Surely that's the adult thing to do. I remember in the old days, in some of the local pubs and working men's institutes and so on, people would have fierce debates. They would be shouting at each other, but they wouldn't fight. They just say what they wanted to say and then have another pint together. I don't know if you've got any recommendations for Now, I don't know if you have any stories around that. Certainly for me, it's quite a difficult subject because both my father and my grandfather were local councillors and of opposing parties. How does that even work? I don't know. It's a weird thing, but they were. And it caused a lot of division in my family. It also caused division with me as a child not being able to associate with certain people because their parents might have had different political persuasions. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's a bit ridiculous. But hey ho, that's how it goes. So do you think social media is partly to blame for this, with people resorting to personal insults because they just don't have anything to say? I asked somebody the other day on social media why they were voting for a certain candidate. And they didn't really come at me. They just sort of said, well, it's like this. And then said why they would vote for them. And it was quite direct because they obviously thought that I was sort of having a go, but I wasn't. So I just said afterwards, thank you for answering, because I just wanted to know why they wanted to vote. Hello, Neville. Have you had enough of the political debate? He's leaving the room. Okay. But yeah, I don't know why we can't just ask people a question and take the answer, whether we like it or not. We can agree to disagree. You know, it's a thing, people. You can agree to disagree. So let me know on our dedicated line, what stories or comments have you got on this? Please keep it clean. I know it's really difficult with politics. So our number, which I have to check because I keep forgetting because it's new, is 074 970 79907. That's 074 970. So talking about difficulties in America, which we're not going to, I just want to talk about an American person that I know. A lady called Alice came to Wales. She met somebody she was in a relationship for a while, and she came to Wales and stayed in Caerphilly. And when you talk to her, she knows so much about the local history of Caerphilly and about the culture of Wales. She knows a lot more than locals. So I will play the chat that we had in a sec. You'll have to excuse it. It is in a cafe. I don't have particularly great equipment right now, so you'll have to excuse the sound. However, we spoke about her knowledge of culture, what she likes about Wales as well, from an American's point of view. And what struck me is that she is just so knowledgeable. Is your local history and culture important to you? If not, why not? What do you know about it? Do you go out of your way to find out about the place where you live? I moved to Devon a number of years ago. I haven't long, only a few months, moved back to Wales. And I made it my business to know about the history of the area that I was living in because I found it fascinating. There were shipwrecks opposite my house. I wanted to know what they were called and the history behind them. There were local statues. This is where the name Yellow Rhino comes from. So rhino was from a concrete rhino where it sort of represented rhinoceros bones that were prehistoric that had been dug up in the area, and that represented them finding those. Alongside, there were other animals that were found as well. And yellow being the colour of well-being, joy, happiness, that kind of thing. That's where the branding came from. But I did go out of my way to try and find out as much about the history as I can. Is it that people are not interested so much in history anymore? Or is it that you feel unless you come out of an area, you don't appreciate what's in it? Because I find that when I walk around Caerphilly Castle, having been away for so long, when I came back and went to Caerphilly, I walked around the castle and thought, wow, this is really something that we've got here. And I noticed all the different upgrades that were happening to the town centre as well. I think because of being away for a bit and then coming back, I noticed them more often. So do you take any pride in your local area? Do you encourage people that come to see you from other places to go and visit them and tell them a little bit about your area? And what is it about Caerphilly town, Caerphilly borough that you really like? So send us in your recommendations, your history stories, your funny stories, your observations, and any questions that you have. Our dedicated number again is 074 970 79907. Let's see what Alice had to say when I spoke to her in Caerphilly.
Okay, so this morning I'm here with Alice. And Alice, I'd like to ask you to briefly introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
I'm Alice. I am from California in America.
I don't know what else to say. So, Alice, what is it like to be an American visiting Wales?
I absolutely adore Wales and getting to see a different culture than my own, getting to try different foods and experience a completely different lifestyle. So I find it fascinating.
What is the best food that you've tried?
Welsh games.
You also feel like you're a fan of.
Absolutely. I haven't had proper homemade Welsh games, but I get the ones from Cardiff Bakestones, Cardiff Market.
They're very good.
Those are my favorite.
They are. They have a good name. Yes. So, what is it about Wales that surprised you most?
How lovely everyone was. I have not had a problem with anyone that I've spoken to. Everyone is always interested in hearing my story and, asking if I want to go for coffee or just making me feel at home. For Christmas, I thought I wasn't going to have plans, and I had about 20 people offer their homes to me, which is not something that I would get in America.
No.
So definitely the people.
Would you say that there's more community spirit here than where you're from?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Especially here in Philly, I love that there's constantly different festivals or markets and ways of sharing the community with other ones.
Yeah. So have you managed to go to some of those festivals, and what have you been to?
I have. I went, I've been to a lot, actually. Mostly here in Philly, doing the Christmas market. They had a jazz festival a little bit ago. There's constantly an artisan market or farmer's market.
And you're interested in the libraries, aren't you? You're an avid reader?
I am an avid reader.
Okay, so you say that you were involved in a local group that went to the library. What kind of things did they do?
So I go to a couple different groups at the library. I go to a craft group on Mondays, and it's for neurodivergent people. And everybody brings their own craft, whether it's watercolors or knitting, diamond hair. And everybody just sits around the table for 2 hours.
I've seen that advertised. I'm really tempted.
Oh, you should. It's wonderful. Everyone is so lovely and welcoming. So I highly suggest it. There's a silent reading group on Wednesdays where everyone can go and read. You don't have to talk, but it's nice to be around with other people. And they have card groups that you can sit and play cards on Thursdays. Yeah.
What do you think, the people that you've met, some people will obviously ask you questions about your nationality and about your political beliefs and so on. How do you deal with that?
For the most part, I try not to get too into politics just because that's a very fine line of what is accepted and what is not. I'll sometimes entertain them with a sentence or two, but for the most part, I try and keep political views down.
So what do you feel are the similarities between Wall culture and the Welsh culture? And are there any?
I was going to say that's a bit harder. Yeah. I mean, similarities in terms of, I feel that teenagers are going to be the same anywhere. And, people want to gather together with their friends. But for the most part, I don't see many similarities other than, we have some of the same foods and we listen to the same music, watch the same films, TV programs. So that's the same, but.
And I guess there's quite a contrast with weather and so on.
Oh, absolutely.
So what is it, when you're in Wales, what do you miss about being at home?
Not much. I'm sure that's probably not the answer you were hoping for.
So what is good about coming from California? Tell me, if I was going to visit there, what could I look forward to?
It's gorgeous. I think Wales and California have a very similar landscape. And it's something I truly appreciate about where I am near San Francisco is how diverse the culture is, which you have to some extent here, but it's far different in America, especially where I am. The food is, you have that diversity, but again, in America, there's a further extent to that. And I guess that's something that I miss. It's not that the food here is bad, but there's more of a variety there.
Yeah.
But shops are open later. That's something that I miss.
Yeah.
Yesterday was Sunday, and I realized that I missed going to the shops before they closed at 4.
Yeah. Very limited hours. Yeah.
So that's something silly, but to me, I can go 24 hours to my shop at any time. And it's the little things, but it does make a difference.
That's a bonus, isn't it? So for anyone that wanted to visit Wales, what would you say to them?
I think you should go. I feel like you can get almost anything here. If you want to see the castles and do historic culture, you can do that. If you want to go, up to North Wales and, I'm going to butcher it, but Eddie is however you pronounce it, Snowdonia. You can see stunning views, or there's so much that you can do here. Activities all the time.
You're selling it to me, and I'm from here. So
I just think there's so much more to Wales than Cardiff. And I know when people are in London or in England, they'll do a stop or do a tour and they go to Cardiff Castle. But I encourage people to go outside of Cardiff and really explore.
Did you know that Caerphilly Castle is actually wider and more famous than Cardiff Castle?
It's done.
Excellent. Second biggest castle in the UK. You've known that. Okay, so you've done your history work. Is that because when you came to Caerphilly, you saw the castle and thought, "Oh, I'd like to know more about that"?
Yes and no. I came to the castle originally because I was dating someone from Caerphilly, and before we had met in person, he had told me he lived 3 miles from the castle, and I looked up the castle and then started doing my own research. But then when I came here, I really delved into more of the history. The castle is the reason I came to London.
So you came to Wales originally to look at history and to meet up with somebody at the time. Otherwise, would you have known much about Wales?
No. I knew Wales was a country. I could locate it on a map because I'm fairly good at geography.
So you're going.
But overall, I had been to England before, but I had never thought I'll come to Wales, with the exception of crossing it off as a country I had been to. So the first time I had gone to come, it was really to see the castle, and then I was planning on leaving. I'm glad I didn't.
I'm glad. Well, it was lovely for you to answer my questions. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay in Wales.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's look at some recommendations. We've had a couple in. We've had Sharon that recommends eating in Casimir in Caerphilly. Great views of the castle, and if you like Italian food, it's the best place around. Okay. I have been there for a meeting, but I haven't actually eaten there. And then we have had Lisa. She recommends the courthouse in Caerphilly. Cracking meal and good views. Okay. And I would like to put one in for myself. I would like to recommend Philly for a really quirky little place to shop. It's full of makers, people with small businesses, and it's got a really nice, quirky atmosphere. They also run activities for children and families around bank holidays, school holidays, half terms, that kind of thing. So I would recommend having a little nose around there as well. It's based around a couple of shipping containers that have been placed to make a little marketplace. So that's quite a nice area as well. So shout out to them. So as we wrap up this week's episode, I'd like to thank you for listening. And if you would like to be part of the podcast, if you run a well-being sort of business, maybe something that makes people or animals even feel better, please get in touch. Leave your name and number on the line. You can text, voice note or WhatsApp in anonymously as well with your tips. So if you've had good service somewhere, you have had a great plumber, electrician, or you can recommend somewhere to make people feel good, a good coffee meetup, a good dog walk, a good activity. And in particular, when I've been out and about asking people about what they're interested in and they can't find out much about, groups and clubs. So if you run or are part of some kind of club or group and you would like some new members, please let us know what that is and where you meet. So whether you are a man looking for a men's group, a woman looking for a woman's group, you want some family activities, or even you want to shout out to some events, then please get in touch with us. And one more thing, coming up on some of our episodes, we have imposter syndrome. If you've got a comment, a question, a story about imposter syndrome, please get in touch. We're also looking at culture. So are you proud of your culture? We spoke about it earlier in the pod. What does it mean to you? Are you interested in your own local history? And nutrition is coming up soon. Are you somebody that is very particular about what you eat? Are you vegetarian, vegan, following keto diet, personal trainer that's also a nutritionalist? If you've got anything to say about food, I think we all have somewhere along the line, then please get in touch. Our number again is 074 970 79907. That's 074 970 79907. Thank you for listening. Sirhowy Sessions is part of the Yellow Rhino brand. Please give us a like and share and subscribe.